All right, guys, if you have made it back to me, then you have already completed your bell ringer, which was a kind of weekend review check-in quiz. You are now back for 10% rule notes, and then you will do some practice before you have time at the end of class to just finish anything that you have unfinished for the week. Today's notes are going to be quick, not quite as quick as yesterday's, but still pretty quick. Let's go ahead right now and add to our table of contents before we get started. You'll notice that I've already added to mine. So you're going to add 9/11 over under the date side. You're writing 10% rule notes as your assignment title. And these are actually also going to go on page 6 because we were just using the bottom half of the paper from yesterday. So we're going to have a double 6 right here. Once you have that done, you can go ahead and flip to page 6. All right, so page 6 from yesterday consists of the notes we took yesterday, and then we are going to move into this triangle that we have at the bottom of our page. So we have a couple different things we need to do, and we're going to be writing a little bit of everywhere on this page. So I'm going to come over here in this corner up here beside our triangle, and I'm going to say only about... I'm going to use a color because I want it to stand out to my brain, but you don't have to. Only about 10% of the energy in one trophic level passes on to the next level. I'm going to say 90, this one's important, 90% is lost to heat. 90% is lost to heat. So that's what we're working with. If we start with 100% energy, we have to follow it through, and the triangle is a wonderful representation of that for our purposes. So we are going to start down here at the bottom. I'm just going to make a note down here so that I remember that the sun is the source of all energy. The sun is the source of all energy. All right, and we are going to go ahead and kind of give ourselves a little guide in here. So in each box, I'm going to write the following. I'm going to put a blank, and I'm going to say of available energy. Okay, blank of available energy. Same thing here. All right. Give yourself a second to get that done. And then when you are ready to move on, we'll go ahead and do that. So we are going to start at the bottom of our pyramid. In this bottom section, this is where you're going to list your producers. Okay? Producers are your largest amount, always, so they're going to fill in this bottom half of the triangle, and they get their energy from the sun. Okay, so they have 100% of all available energy right there. Okay, but the problem comes in when they get eaten. So we know, because we wrote it right here, that about 10% of the energy in one trophic level passes on. 90% is lost in heat. So I'm going to write over here 90% lost. So if you lose 90% of 100, you're going to end up with 10%. Okay, 10% of available energy is in this box. And this is where your primary consumers are represented. Primary consumers. We already know, because we did it in our food web yesterday, that primary consumers are going to get eaten by our secondary consumers. Okay, but in keeping with our 10% rule, we know that 90% is lost. So I know some of you are thinking, how do you lose 90% if you only have 10%? You are losing 90% of that 10%, which means you only have 1% remaining. Okay, 1% of available energy still exists for you. And that is what is getting eaten by your secondary consumers. Secondary consumers. All right. And of course, I'm sure you figured out our pattern by now. You're going to lose 90% of that. So 90% is lost there, which means we are moving on. If 90% of your 1% is lost, then you are left with 0.1%. Okay, and that is getting eaten or taken by your tertiary consumers. Oop, I'm going to go out of the box. Tertiary consumers. Okay, and even though we're at the very tip top of our pyramid, I'm going to still put out here that 90% is lost. Okay, because if we want to take it one step further, then we could say, let's see, of this, you have 0.01%, and that is left for your decomposers. Okay, and of course we know that of that 0.01, 90% is lost. So now we've done a little bit of math with our science today. So looking at our energy pyramid here, which just FYI, that's what this is called. I'm going to label it energy pyramid. If you look at just the layout of your pyramid and even your percents within each category, you can almost take your pencil and draw a line down this side. And this kind of shows where you have different levels of energy. So if we turn it to the side so we can write, this is your least amount of energy up at the top. And this is your most energy. Okay, within that, this is your smallest population. And these are your largest populations. So if you think about it in terms of smallest and largest population, think about all of the plants that exist. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of plants that exist in our world. If you look out your window, you are most likely going to see green, 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 and all sorts of plants. The same cannot be said for your tertiary consumers. You do not look out the window and see hundreds of millions, thousands of eagles. So those are your smallest populations, whereas your producers are your largest populations. And then they get smaller as they move forward. So those primary level consumers, those herbivores, you are seeing more of than you're seeing of the tertiary level consumers. Okay, and that is what enables an ecosystem to function appropriately. If there were less producers and more tertiary consumers, then your flow would be off and the animals in the middle and at the top wouldn't be able to survive. You would end up eliminating all of your producers and you would have less resources to keep your ecosystem functioning and healthy. So, our energy pyramid is a great example of the energy resources that are available and how that energy translates from one level to the next. I hope this makes a little bit more sense to you guys, and you're going to do a little bit of practice in just a second, and then you will have the remainder of class today to review and get caught up. Goodbye, guys. See you Monday.